really understand that sort of, that feeling because I've been there. And my email arrived on her BlackBerry. Is at that moment in time where she was ready to give up. We emailed back and forth 2 or 3 times, and I actually rang her in New York, and we spoke. And after a few months, we were still sort of in contact, and she sort of explained to me that he'd gone back into therapy, he was in hospital, and he was about to be released, and he turned a huge corner in his life. And that was, so that story for me, like I said, if I never sold a book, that story will take me to my, to the end of my days, knowing that I helped that one person, that I made that difference to that life. And that's my purpose, that's my passion. So it's not about go buy my book, it's about me saying, I'm here to help you if you let me.
That's beautiful. I know that a lot of listeners are going to be, have this particular radio broadcast available to them for decades. And the ability for people to look online and say, is there anybody out there that's going to understand me or help me understand myself? And to know that, yes, there is, and there you are, Teresa. And so this is it's a gift that you would go inside yourself with such pain to have to look at and then say, look, and I'm going to reveal this to everybody because I want you to know and I want you to be healed. So can you tell us what your stepfather did? What were the pursuits? What were the houndings? Can you move those who have not experienced this so that they can feel the horror, the fear, the experience of not being yourself, the need to dissociate, the self-image attitudes, or all these collections of experiences that are about this awful event? Help us step right into your shoes as much as we can.
Okay. Wow, there's loads of things out there. I mean, disassociation is something quite major because you can't stay within the person you are. So you create these other, these other entities, these other people, alter egos, if you want to call it that, because you can't live that part of your life at that moment in time. So you look for somebody you think is strong within you. The real truth is that they're all inside you anyway. It's just that, the jigsaw, all the pieces are in the wrong place. You just have to sort of rearrange. Maybe you need help putting the right pieces, in the right place again. So, and that's where, for me, my psychiatrist came into my life and did that. There's so many things. Self-worth. You don't think you have any worth. It's a case of, I used to walk past mirrors and avoid looking into the mirror because I thought there was something evil looking back at me. The entity, the image I was seeing. I detested. I thought this person was evil, and everything I was receiving and had received up to that point in my life, should be expected because of my actions. They were, my own sort of evilness, sort of resonating out and affecting the way I was in my life and everyone around me. I mean, there's so many things that people sort of sit and think. What did he do? I was blackmailed. He followed me. He wrecked my car one day when I was at work. He sent letters to the door. He beat people up that I cared about because he would do so to make me, to do what he wanted. He rang me one day, and this is within my book, a lady that I later had a relationship with, because at that point in my life, I'm chucking a sort of spanner in the works there, but we'll come back to that one if you ask me in a moment.
Okay.
But he rang me to say that if I wasn't at this lady's house within, 10 minutes, he had a shotgun in the car and he was going to shoot her. And I was driving home and I sort of thought, this is just rubbish. He won't do this. And I sort of arrived at my own home and thought, yeah, he will do this. And I drove and we went to her house and he was actually sitting outside with a gun. And your listeners must be thinking, and to be honest, when I first sent my book to my publisher, they asked and emailed me back to say, was it fiction? You have to read the book to know, but it's all fact. Everything in there is the truth. And, this man was capable of, and I knew that. It was a judgment call that I knew I had to actually go there. Would he have shot her? Absolutely, and there were so many other things within that book that, this man was, as I said, on a very thin line. When it all sort of came to the fore and it was all sort of chucked out there because I could no longer deal with what was going on in my life, he arrived at my house one day and he'd severed his own finger as a way of an apology. He'd read somewhere in a book or in a film, I'm not quite sure which, but that a samurai warrior, if he offended another family, that was their way of repent, or to apologize, was to remove part of their finger to give to this other family as a, as a gesture. And he'd really sort of gone from his house, walked down to his garage, severed his finger, sort of got in the car, went to the hospital, had his finger stitched, and then arrived at my house with this, gruesome gift to say, I'm sorry. I mean, these things, the things within my book may sound farcical, but they're all very true, and they're all sort of, relevant. I walked past the hell, my own hell, but I looked into the fire, and I'm here. So if I can do so, so can anyone else out there.
Can you give us a time reference about when this started in your life and when it ended? These types of horrors from your stepfather.
I'm awfully sorry, Carol, but this line is so bad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you give me a feel for when it started in your life and when it ended?